Hello, would you like to have employees that are almost nearly 6 times more engaged? Would you like to have employees that are having much higher sales, much higher productivity? Would you like to have a workplace where you're having much higher profitability? And you may be struggling with that. You may be in a situation right now where you have a high employee engagement turnover, high employee turnover. You have sales that are not consistent as some performers leave, or inconsistent performance in your sales and starting to get stagnant. You may be experiencing a situation where your productivity is just like it's just not where you'd like to be, and you might be seeing it's actually going down. These are some of the things that are actual indicators of employee disengagement. And I would like to take a little bit of time and explain why this is so important. Before we get more into that, please, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you signing in from? If you're watching this at a later time, feel free to put in the comments where are you signing in from, and what are some of the challenges you're facing in your organization when it comes to employee disengagement. And not just that, when it comes to your productivity, your profitability, what are some of the challenges you're seeing? What are some of the high employee turnover issues that you might be facing? And what do you think might be some of those causes? I'd love to hear from you. Please put it in the comments below. So one of the things I shared this week in my weekly video is about the importance of coaching versus managing, and it has to do with how we treat our employees and how that actually impacts our bottom line as an organization. And this video is an extension to that, explaining that a little bit more in detail, why it's so important. If we haven't met before, my name is Fahim Karim, and I'm an employee engagement expert, and I work with faith and value-based organizations in helping them reach higher levels of productivity and profitability by focusing on employee engagement. Sometimes I get asked this question like, why is employee engagement important? Why should I as an organization care about that? Well, employee engagement is actually a symptom of a major other problem that's happening in an organization. And it helps those things, multiple factors. For example, the processes may be inefficient, projects are too many, communication between employee and management is multiple factors that causes it. And in those different factors, when I look at them individually and assess them, I get to see what is causing that employee disengagement. Because the reason you want employees to be engaged is because of what I just stated, which is higher productivity. According to Gallup, it shows that when you have engaged employees, and this is on your top tier employee that are highly engaged, they're actually performing 6 times more at productivity, right? They're 6 times more. This data is really amazing. They have 6 times more productivity. They have actually 20% higher sales and 21% higher profitability for your organization, right? So this is really important. So what I wanted to elaborate is that why is coaching so important as a manager versus managing people? Latest research shows that we have typically as managers we have been in management really programmed to just manage people. Okay, we get a new hire, we put them through certain training courses, we give them their supplies, and then we have like once a quarter review, and then a yearly annual review, and then we expect them to be really highly effective at their work. But it is actually showing otherwise. Research shows millennials, the top 3 things millennials are looking for when it comes to job, number 1 is opportunity to learn and grow. So if you're looking to attract millennials and you want them to really enjoy working and be engaged, one of the top things they're looking for is, what is my opportunity to learn and what is my opportunity to grow in this organization? Number two thing they're looking for is the quality of the manager, right? And this is all according to Gallup's research. And also the quality of management. So what they're showing is that the actual engagement of the employee, a big portion of it has to do with the relationship they have with their manager. And so how we train our managers in our organization to become coaches is truly one of the most transformative way to get more employee engagement. So I wanted to share some tips with you. Just to give you a little bit of background about myself. I worked in a very large financial institution that is global. Besides that, I lived in 4 different continents, and I worked with colleagues across multiple functions, whether as their manager or as the product manager, bringing different talent who I may not have direct ownership with, but creating environments where it's very collaborative and everybody has an amazing relationship, working relationship with me, so that they're contributing at the highest levels. So with that experience, and also I'm an executive coach, I do coach, have successfully coached many executives in this area, and what I found is that when managers take that approach as a coach versus as a manager, the experience the employees have is so different. What do I mean by that? A coach is someone who actually wants to see the employee success. And the way they do that is not defining it for the employee, but actually working with the employee to help the employee come up with their understanding of what actually motivates them. So the 3 things I wanted to share with you, like how to move from this management mindset, like this mindset of continuous performance review, right, to a continuous coaching, right? And millennials don't like bosses that are authoritative. Employees love managers that are actually vested in their growth and sincerely wants to help them develop their talent, develop their skills, and help them identify and use those skills. It's also another data shows that the number one reason employees leave organization is because of opportunity for career growth. Imagine if we took care of our employees' needs within the organization, the way we help them grow within the organization, whether it's within the department that you're managing or it's across other departments, because if you understand what drives this employee, what is their ultimate goal, and if you help them align that vision with the opportunities within the organization, how much more engaged those employees are. Our research also shows one of the main reasons employees stay with their current manager is because of the relationship they have with the manager. Feedback that we have received is that when they have a manager that truly cares, gives them the autonomy, respects their the talent, and is investing in helping them grow and develop their talent, helping them identify and grow, even though they're getting competitive offers, $10,000 more, they're not leaving because they don't want to miss this opportunity to have such an amazing manager that is totally invested in their growth, in helping them reach higher levels of their best self. So how to do that? How can you as a manager move from a managerial mindset to a coaching mindset? 3 simple things I'm going to share with you. Number 1, when you have this new employee, or let's say you don't have a new, you want to start with your existing employee, you can do it today. You don't have to wait for new hires. So I would recommend booking a separate session for each employee individually, and then having a conversation as to what is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal in their career, their in their health, in their private life, if they're comfortable discussing that, and try to come up with what exactly drives them. That's number 2. Each employee is different. There's a different driver for each employee. Some are motivated by career mobility upwards. Some are motivated by learning more and developing their talent vertically. Some are motivated by having a stable job and being able to take care of their parents or their loved ones at home, or having that stability. So each person's needs are different. I'll give an example from my personal life. One of the managers that I had worked for was really amazing. Is when I first showed up in his office as I joined the new division, he knew what was something I valued greatly. And he knew that for me, because I love to pray, and he understood that that is something very important to me. So when I first showed up on that day, he said, Fahim, I know this is important to you, so please come with me. So he and his executive assistant took me across the hall to a very nice conference room that is quiet and secluded. He said, we thought about this room. This would be perfect for you to perform your daily prayers. And I can tell you that touched me so much, because I was, when I prayed, I actually moved into tears, because I valued that so much. That's something I value. Where others, that's not their main value. That's not motivating for them. For others, it may be their ability to have more, opportunities to move up the career ladder. So that's why it's so important to understand each employee's needs. It's also important to know that, because when you're trying to find out how can I motivate this employee to make them feel more cared and loved within this organization that they're working for, I need to first understand who they are, what do they like. And the first way to do that is having that discussion with them to understand what is their ultimate scenario. What is that best version of themselves that they see in the future that they're doing. And then what is one step we can do today as a manager? What is the one step you can take today? You can ask the employee, what is one step you can take today to help you reach that? So that's the first thing, is to understand what is the ultimate scenario. Number two is understand what drives this employee. Number three is something equally important, which is help become their advocate. Help become their allyship. Like according to neuroleadership, they use the word allyship. Allyship, it basically means that if you are a person of influence within your organization and you have a new hire or somebody who doesn't have that influence, you take them under your wing and you help them in their career plan, and you speak up for them, you help them. So I look at that as an advocate. As a manager, when you become their advocate, that you're truly looking out for your employee, and that, for example, let's say you have somebody who works for you and they are maybe not so familiar with, I'll give you an example. Like let's say I'm an employee who is not familiar with the U.S. culture, for example. Let's say it's a person who didn't study here or didn't grow up here, but they may be a first generation immigrant. And so for them, they're not going to be very familiar with how the corporate culture here works. So you being their ally, helping them navigate that political pathway, helping them understand the power dynamics within the organization, because they're not familiar with that. They're familiar with the different culture that they grew up in, but they're not familiar within this U.S. context. So by you being their advocate, helping them think through that, hey, I want you to take this one course. I notice that you have amazing talent, but sometimes your talent is not being appreciated by others simply because the way you're communicating needs to be a little bit more, how do you say, more vocal, right? And in this particular course that I found is going to help you in that. And I see that because your ultimate scenario you mentioned to me is such and such, and it has this leadership vision that you have for yourself. So in order to think of that vision, in order to help you reach that vision, I thought about this one course in communication. Let me know what you think about it. Then, at the same time, they may not know what are the different diversity groups that you may have within your organization, and they may not have the understanding of how to navigate through those and meeting with different leadership to get exposure. You may be aware of that because you're the manager. So help them navigate in that space. So to summarize, in order to have higher productivity in your organization, in order to have higher profitability in your organization, in order to be able to retain top talent, not only that, have them perform 6 times more than they are if they're disengaged versus when they're engaged, they're performing 6 times more in productivity. This is one of the key approaches. Gallup's research shows managers are one of the big portion of why employees get disengaged, and it can also be the opposite, why they become engaged. So if you love what you heard today, please put in the comments below what are some of the challenges you're facing in your organization when it comes to productivity, sales, and employee retention. I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you are seeing that your managers are doing or you're doing in your organization that you found very helpful? I'd love to hear that. Or some of the things you found that wasn't working very well and you would like to get some additional information on that. So feel free to leave me a comment and I will try my best to respond back to you. Thank you.